It's Sunday, which means it's recap time here on the Retirement Quick Tips podcast. The theme this week was an anatomy of a perfect credit score. So, in case you missed any episodes, I talked about yesterday, probably my favorite episode of the week. What does it actually take to get a perfect 850 credit score? Like, what are the common traits that people share who have perfect credit? And I think more than anything else, if you can look to that and say, oh, maybe I'm not, maybe I have less credit cards than I maybe should. And that's hurting me because my credit utilization ratio is lower. I talked a little bit about how the perfect credit score, a lot of that is just vanity because anything above 760 is going to be good enough. Above that point, you have to ask yourself, what's that about? Are you just trying to convince yourself that, you have finally made it financially, you have a perfect credit score? Well, it may not be worth it, especially if you have low debt and you're trying to minimize debt. That doesn't always equate to a perfect credit score. I also talked about the various factors in detail as far as like credit mix and how that makes up 10% of your overall score and sort of the various factors and the weights of each one that determine what your credit score is. And then earlier in the week on Wednesday, I talked about the one most important determinant of your credit score, that is payment history. Tuesday, I talked about why a higher credit score means more than it used to. And that's simply because interest rates are a lot higher. So back in the day, AKA like 3-4 years ago, before rates started ticking up back in the day, if you didn't have a great credit score, it didn't hurt you all that much because rates across the board were still low. So assuming you could qualify for a car loan or mortgage or whatever, the difference in rates wasn't all that much. And rates were so low that, it wasn't even that bad. But today, the disparity is a lot wider. So you want to try to minimize your debts and the interest rate that you're going to pay on those debts as much as possible. And so that's why, when times are tough, when rates are higher, a credit score means more than it might have used to even just a couple of years ago before rates were much higher. All right. Thank you so much for listening this week. If you are enjoying the podcast, please share the show. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're interested in learning more about working with me, you can check out my website, truenorthra.com, and get in touch with me over there. All right. Thank you so much for sharing the love and spreading the word. I hope you have a blessed Sunday. My name is Ashley Michike, and this is the Retirement Quick Tips Podcast.